Hi, Vijay Mistry here, CEO and founder of Renter Director, author of 7 world-class corporate training programs which have a Green Light status award from the UK Trade and Investment. And our purpose is to see entrepreneurs, leaders, business owners, directors, executives and managers achieve standards of excellence in everything they do and scale up their businesses with ease. Now, my dear friends, today I want to share with you some insights on the 5 watch out signals when it comes to business fraud. Now, in my experience, I've helped hundreds of organizations over the past 2 decades. And what has happened is we have picked up and identified fraud. And I want to share some of the signals and it will give you a realization. It's like a wake-up call for us. It was a wake-up call. So I just want to share some of the insights of this particular big issue of business fraud. So let's deep dive straight into this particular training. So now what I want to do is I just want to give you a little bit of a brief overview. So first we'll just touch on the overview so you get a picture as to what's happening globally and the cost to businesses when you look at the fraud cost itself. We'll then go into the 5 signals. That is where the business fraud comes in. And after that, I want to share with you a flagship program which I have, which is going to help you not only prevent fraud, but also detect fraud and many other issues. So I'll just walk you through this particular flagship program. And there's also another program which I'll be talking about, and we'll conclude this particular presentation. So let's go straight into what it really costs. Now, according to Crow, an estimated 5.127 trillion pounds every year is being lost through fraud. Now, this is a statistics which is staggering amount. Imagine the impact it's making to organizations adversely. So there's a huge loss when it comes to the cost itself, and losses average 7.15% of expenditure. Now just think about this, that such an amount, a material amount, is averaged as the cost, the total expense of running an organization. Now, I'm not saying that fraud happens in your business, but it's very important to find out what are some of those signals that you need to really be very alert about. So let's deep dive straight into these 5 watch out signals. Now, the first one is guarded territories. And I'll give you a practical example. There was this service industry, a service company, and what happened is the head of finance, this person, he was guarding his territory. He wasn't allowing consultants to come in. Now, I came in as a consultant, but what happened is he wasn't really allowing me to look into the information. And this guarded territory itself is like, some feel it to be a threat as well. And this is one of the watch out signals. And by the way, this head of finance was actually taken out of his office when they detected the fraud. So it was a bit too late. They detected this fraud, and he was just thrown out the same day, because obviously, I mean, it's a criminal offense, as we know. And this was one of the key issues. So be very careful if anybody is guarding the territory itself. It could be the purchase department, it could be the sales department, it could be the finance department, which is one of the biggest ones. So you need to look into all the operations, all the pipelines in your particular business. And by the way, this applies to small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, family businesses, private companies, any size of business. And this is something that you need to really be very, very careful. Anybody guarding their territory is it's somehow a red flag, and it needs more attention. I'm not saying that it is fraud, but at the end of the day, it requires further attention, in my opinion. Secondly, and this is a common problem which I have noticed as well, and this is misuse of authority. And I'll give you an example. So again, there was another service industry, and this manager, she was in charge of purchases, so she was in charge of the supply chain itself. And what she was doing is she was colluding with the suppliers. So there was a collusion. It's normally, whenever you see this business fraud, it's normally two or more people involved. And you'll note this is something which is common. And what happened is, this lady, she was colluding with the suppliers. And obviously, we were doing some depth checks during that particular time, and we had to benchmark certain costs, and we were looking into all the costings and everything. And we found out this particular fraud happening with evidence, because where she was buying, we went there to buy the same item, and obviously it was at a lower rate. And we then found out and we exposed it, and she admitted to that particular fraud. So this is another problem, misuse of authority. So you need to look into your sales as well. By the way, in the sales, there's credit notes as well. So you need to be very careful and very cautious about that particular element. In my program, I cover all this, but I just want to give you a little bit of a flavor as to how this particular fraud really takes place. The third one, which is very important, is gaps in trail of evidence. Have you ever come across anybody who's got a lot of paperwork, and the trail is not there? There is disorganization as well. And this is what happened in one particular company, because that trail of evidence was missing. So we couldn't really pick up as to what was really happening. But then obviously there's one or two mistakes a fraudster would make. And obviously we picked up that particular mistake they made. So again, when you come across gaps in trail of evidence, that is a dangerous sign as well. And this is something we've picked up. So I'm just sharing practical insights of what we have picked up. So be very careful when it comes to gaps in trail of evidence. Now, another problem is reluctant to rotate or go on leave. There was one particular head of finance, again, this guy was a financial controller. And what happened is, when we went in as consultants, we realized that he had not taken leave for 2 to 3 years almost. And we were surprised, but when we did more depth checks, we could find out certain material misstatements, and there were certain amounts which couldn't be well accounted for, because obviously when you do a in-depth audit in the financials, then obviously you would pick up certain red flags. And this is exactly what happened. So when it comes to reluctance to rotate as well, so in other words, if you are trying to shift a personnel from purchase to another department, it could be one of the officers or something, then that could be a red flag as well. So you need to make sure that for internal control purposes, you need to make sure there is that rotation as well. But at the same time, there needs to be stronger oversight, because that is really very key to whatever you're doing. The fifth one, and again, this is another big one. And again, there was this particular service industry. Sadly, I've just come across. In fact, there was also a manufacturing industry. So there was a service industry as well as a manufacturing industry. In this case, a purchase officer or anybody would come in for authority the last minute. So it's like last minute. That oversight is not there, the planning is not there, the depth test is not there, and it's like you have to sign it right now and now. So that's sort of a syndrome as well. So you have to be very careful, because it can really be detrimental to the growth of organization. And by the way, not only from a fraud perspective, but anybody bringing in last minute stuff for you as a business owner to sign, or you as an executive officer who has the authority, then you need to ask this question as to why is this coming last minute. So is it something that the capability of or the skill set of whoever's bringing in, is it questionable? So you need to really find out. I'm not saying you doubt your staff, you must trust your staff. But the thing is, these are the red flags we have picked up, and there's been exponential amount of fraud taking place. So I hope you pick some value from what I've said and you made some notes, because this is so powerful and this is so important for your growth. Now, I just want to shift gears and I want to give you an opportunity here, which is going to save you money and time, because the biggest right now the default currency is time and effectiveness, so that you can really have the right cash flows with your in your particular business. This is about strengthening your systems as well. So the program which I have will help you to strengthen systems. Obviously, all the measures to prevent fraud, identifying fraud, prevention of fraud, everything will be taken care of. The other key element is this particular program. I've just shared 5 signals. I want to go 100 times deeper. So in other words, you'll get a complete immersive 5-week program, because this is about a 5-week program, which is going to give you all these steps, everything which is going to add efficiencies. So it's a 5-week program, like I mentioned. So let me walk you through what this particular program is. This is a business fraud program. It's a powerful 5-week program detecting and preventing business fraud. It's an online program. It's all video based program. So you'll have all the insights. And I've done this particular business fraud seminar for the Young President Organization and the World President Organization, where I had 40 CEOs of small, medium and large organizations who attended this particular seminar. So I have condensed and synthesized everything in this particular program, which is going to give you all the insights to help your business grow. Now, this program has a green light status as well from the UK Trade and Investment. And what I want now to do is give you an outline as to what you will get. So in week 1, you'll get 2 core elements, which is why fraud occurs and areas of fraud. Now, it's very important to make sure that you pick up what are the areas of fraud that you need to really consider and look into. We'll then go into week 2. Now, this is indirect fraud, and this can lead to a lot of inefficiencies. And I share a lot of insights and triggers when it comes to indirect fraud. And we'll then go into who is involved. And I'll give you a complete feel as to who is normally involved and what you really need to look out for. In week 3, what to watch out for. So we'll cover completely in details, in granularity detail, everything when it comes to what you need to really watch out for. And we'll then go into how to identify fraud, because this is very important, so that you can really look into how you can really neutralize, or you can come up with the right platform or systems for your particular business. We'll then go into how to prevent fraud, because at the end of the day, identifying is one thing, but prevention is better than cure. So how do you prevent fraud? What are the steps you need to take? What are the measures you need to take to prevent fraud? We'll then go into week 5. Now, this is where there's a lot that I'm covering in week 5, where we'll be walking through systems, and I'll be even giving you system pipelines. So there's one for the service industry, one for the for the manufacturing business. And these are rudimentary. They are quite basic, but at the end of the day, they are the snapshots which you can tailor make for your business. But I'll be walking through the systems. Fraud, what next? What do you need to do when you detect fraud? What are the steps you need to take? And then we go into something which is a game changer, which is advancing to the next level. Now, this deep dives into a system-based approach. So I'll be talking about the sequential process, top down, going from the executive level, permeating all the way to your business itself. So we'll go into the sequential process, and there are 2 parts in the sequential process. There's one which is at the top level, the executive. It doesn't matter, you could be business owners at the executive level, and one which is going to be at the operational level. We'll then look into thought leadership using the core accountability lens. So you'll get a whole complete framework, and we'll have a business fraud summary. So this is a 5-week program which is extremely powerful, and your investment, I mean, the normal price is $1,497. This is only $997. Imagine you picking one or two elements. I mean, we're not talking about everything, but if you can make 2 or 3 shifts from this particular program, that can save you millions. That's what I believe, and we have done it. So $997, completely limited time offer, plus here's what I'm doing. I'll give you our flagship program as well, because I believe in excellence. So I'll give you my flagship program, which is Progression to Excellence. This is a 6 weeks cutting edge leadership program, becoming a world-class leader, entrepreneur, director, executive, and manager. I've done seminars in Morocco. I've done seminars for the large big 4 accounting firms, steel manufacturing organizations. I've done large gatherings as well, over 300 on this Progression to Excellence. But those are very short ones, seminars. This is a complete entire end-to-end program which is going to help you to become a world-class leader, entrepreneur, director, executive, and manager. And the value is $997. You get it absolutely free. And like I said, my programs are you get lifetime access. So what does this cover? This particular program will start with the tip of the pyramid, and will start with the purpose of your business, what you really need to look into, your core values, vision, and 27 drivers. Now, I don't only say that you need to have a purpose, I also break it down as to what you really need to do, all the steps of how you really need to look at purpose. We then go into core values as well, and I share certain values for your particular business. We'll go into a vision, but how do you craft a vision? What do you really need to look into? Everything is covered in this particular program. Even if you have a vision, even if you have a purpose and you got your values, which I'm sure you do, this is going to really reinforce what you already do. And we'll talk about the 27 drivers that is going to lead you to excellence. That is week 1. Week 2, and in here I share succession planning, and I share certain criteria of what you really need to look into when it comes to succession planning. Powerful program. We'll go into contingency planning, your emergency fund, what you really need to do, how you really need to plan for your whole contingency itself. Because we've gone through this pandemic and we've gone through a rough patch, so you can imagine how much it has costed not only the businesses itself, but sectors, and it's costed countries as well. So it's been a wake-up call. So contingency planning is very important. We'll then look into eliminating silos. One of the key problems many organizations have is having that siloed mentality. So how to break through, and I'll be sharing practical examples all through. We'll then, this is in fact this particular week 3 4 core pillars, in my opinion, is worth, it could be worth millions in your currency, let me put it that way, because it's one of the most powerful modules out of this 6-week programs. And this covers completely finance, so you'll get a complete know-how on what you really need to look into, how to look into finances. It will give you a deeper insight on finance. It will also help you in your business fraud, but this goes into sharpening your financial competence. We then go into strategy, and I'll break it down completely what you really need to look into. So you'll get everything on strategy, risk itself, and I'll be sharing everything as far as risk is concerned, and best practice as well. We then go into maximizing performance activators, and in here we'll go into balanced scorecard, making meetings meaningful. I've noted meetings, being held left, right, and center without any direction, without proper planning. So this is going to give you a different construct altogether. and it will help you to make those power meetings. It could be 30, 45-minute power meetings, but it's completely action driven. And finally, the futuristic thinker. You show me a program where they show you about futuristic thinker. My dear friends, in this decade between 2020 and 2030, it's all about the futuristic thinker. It's about looking into the signals ahead, and I share different concepts as to what you really need to do to sharpen your skill set on that. We then go into week 5, which is driving excellence. We'll go into executive excellence. Now, this is about self-mastery. It's about you. It's about your health, about yourself as well, your mindfulness as well. So that is the executive excellence. We'll look into corporate social responsibility, executive housekeeping, and ethics and challenges. So everything is covered, and even how to detect an unwanted director. So we cover all of this. And finally, week 6, building broken bridges, cybercrime. My dear friends, it is such an important issue. So I'll cover certain insights for you to help you in your security when it comes to the cyber security itself. We'll then go into board composition and oversights and control. So we go a bit deep dive into internal control systems of what you really need to do, because this is directly related to the business fraud, which I mentioned earlier. So you get this particular program completely free. That's $997. But I want to take this to the next level. And here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you my ultimate governance mastery program. This is a 4-module governance program, my dear friends. You will get this ultimate governance package. Normal price is $497. You'll also get the governance excellence manual, leadership workbook with policy templates, which is $47. This is again video based program as well, but you'll also get the downloads for the manuals, because I've got a manual for the small business, medium sized and large businesses, by the way. So you get the complete blueprint. You'll get the whole package itself, and you'll get my manuals as well. So this one's $544. You'll get that as free. So here's the summary. You get the business fraud program, which is $997, but I'll include the progression to excellence and ultimate governance mastery, because right now you need to have those right macro level insights to help you in your long-term linkage. The total price is $3,538. Your investment is only $997. But then I want to add one more layer of trust. And here's what I'm doing is I'm 100% confident that this is going to be a no-brainer, and I'm 100% confident that this is going to add value. But this is about trust as well. I want you to see what the deliverables are. And in 14 days, you'll get one module, you'll get a second module. Obviously, after 2 weeks, you'll get all the bonuses. But the first and second week, if you do not see a 10x value from the first 2 modules, just let us know and we'll give you your money back. So this is how confident I am that it's going to make an impact in your organization, because I've helped hundreds of companies. In fact, I've helped companies grow. Just in 2020, I've helped over 100 CEOs and executives in their businesses to scale up. So this is completely a no-brainer in my opinion, and it's only for a limited time period. So there's a button below, you can click and you'll get immediate access to this particular program. So it's your decision, you decide, but I have demonstrated what this program can really do for you, and I believe it's a complete game changer. It will just help you. Only an investment of $997, but the value which I'm giving is multifold. It's like unbelievable. It's like you're getting an executive at a fraction of a cost, because my 1 hour, if I were to give you a coaching, 1 hour coaching, that's $1,000, and you're getting over 20-30 hours of training here. So you can imagine the value that I've added in making sure that you get the best of the best. So my dear friends, it's a no-brainer. You can get immediate access. I do hope you take advantage of this offer, because I believe that this is a complete game changer. It's going to help you, it's going to help your business, it's going to take you to another level. And like I said, you just have to repeat some of the modules. You can watch it with your executives in your company and brainstorm over points. This is what my other clients are doing. They brainstorm, go through one of the modules, and they brainstorm and they come up with the insight. So you could use that particular practice. It's entirely up to you. Whatever you decide, I wish you the very best. Thank you very much.